Hi there, today's day 18 of my 30-day video challenge, and today I'm talking about when your day isn't flowing and why that's happening. So something that happens to me often because I like to kind of do my own thing and make things happen from my head a lot is that I get into a flow in the morning. I feel like everything's kind of moving, and then somewhere midway through the day, which is somewhere around today, right now when I'm filming this, I start to feel like I'm not going with the flow, like I'm trying to force things, or like I'm trying to create things or create content that isn't actually flowing out of me. This one is, but other stuff like business tasks and things like that. And I can feel there's like this resistance, or like I'm trying to be guided to do something else. An example of this is probably yesterday or 2 days ago, I was trying to create something and it just wasn't flowing out, and I didn't understand why. And it was partially because what it was needing to be different and needing to be a different way that it was like shown, like through video rather than through written words. And then another thing was that my internal world, or my internal guidance system, my intuition was like, hey, you need to go sit down on your mat and do some meditation. But I was just completely ignoring it, and almost like a little gremlin on my computer, like, no, I need to finish this. But really what in that moment was trying to tell me is go sit down and meditate. And I was denying that. That was sort of my denying the universe's guidance for me in that day to create things to be smooth and flow well. So I wonder if this happens to you, or if you're maybe not aware of it and it happens, or now it's sort of like, oh, I think that happens to me. Because I'd love to know if this happens. Let me know down below in the comments. How do you kind of catch this, or how do you figure this out? Well, something that you can do is that when you're kind of getting guidance to go do something, so it's like, oh, I'm meditating, then you're like, you get out of the meditation, you're like, and then you feel, okay, I want to go eat something, so I'm gonna go eat something. So you go eat something, you're sitting there eating, and then you finish eating, and then maybe while you're eating, you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Sit with what you're doing, be present with what you're eating, and then once you finish, then feel what the call is. If this is hard for you and you don't even know how to do this, then I would recommend just going and eating and doing whatever, and then trying to do something, and then feeling if it feels right or if it feels off, or like feels good, like, oh, I'm doing, like, okay, yeah, and you have energy for it, or if it feels like, I should be doing something else. That's how you know. And there's something else, and that's when you check in, ask yourself, oh, what do I need to be doing right now? Or like, what would be the best thing for me to do? And you check in, and then you're like, oh, I need to go and write this article, or I need to go and contact this person, or I need to go outside and go get some groceries, whatever it is, right? But the way to know when you're in alignment or not is when you're doing what you're doing and you feel off, or you feel like kind of like distant from it, or like something else is pulling at you. That's when you need to check in and see if something's off. But if you're really in and you're like good and everything's awesome, and you just feel this flow while still checking in with yourself to make sure you're not, like too far in and then getting lost, that's like the balance of the two, and that's when you know when you're good and when you're a little bit off. And the thing is, our days are meant to have a flow to them, and they really are meant to flow like beautifully and be in tune, but you also have to take action with it. It's not about just being in the flow and following whatever. You have to take action steps towards things that you're being guided to do, and then if there's resistance, like dealing with the resistance, or doing something to clear the resistance, or sit with it, right? So there's a lot of stuff to this, but I just wanted to talk about this because it's very present for me lately, and I thought it would be helpful for you guys. So thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you have any, like, you experience the same thing. And yeah, you know where to find me. Thanks, guys. Have a great, wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.